Europa League is back. A week after the Champions League was back last week, we of course had a full round of Europa League fixtures to get us started this season in Europe's secondary competition. Here are the 5 matches I want to highlight from this opening week of the Europa League. Let's dive in, guys. So, we'll start with Nottingham Forest playing their first European game in almost 3 decades. They were away to Real Betis over in Spain. Betis, of course, not playing in their normal home stadium, but there were plenty of fans to back the Conference League finalists from last season. They are no mugs at all, and it seemed as though their experience in Europe, their recent experience in Europe, was really going to be beneficial to them, because Bakambu got the opening goal for Betis after just a quarter of an hour plays, but Igor Jesus, quick fire, double, incredible. What a European debut for the Brazilian striker. Absolutely fantastic for him. And Forest went into the break 2-1 up. But it was Anthony, a familiar face to Premier League fans, with a late goal, a fine goal as well, I must say. He is really a man reinvented over in Spain. And Betis ended up drawing this one, Desmond, 2-2. Overall, Betis had more of the play. Forest had more of the chances. Also probably a little disappointed to draw in the end, but not a bad result by any stretch, was Celtic. They played against Red Star Belgrade over in Serbia. Now, in the first half, they were absolutely dominant, were Red Star Belgrade. Celtic really didn't have a single chance. Kasper Schmeichel pulling off some absolutely incredible saves to keep Celtic 0-0 going into half-time. And in the second half, it all changed around. I don't know what Brendan Rodgers did to them in the dressing room, but whatever it did, it clearly worked, as Kelechi Iheanacho scored a fine goal just before the hour mark. However, just after the hour mark, Marko Arnautovic got the equaliser for Red Star, and it was a 1-1 draw after that. On the balance of play, probably a fair result overall. I mean, Celtic will be disappointed to drop 2 points there, but again, this is one of the toughest games they will face in the Europa League, Celtic, so I wouldn't be too disheartened if I were their fans. And they did a lot better than Rangers. We'll get on to Rangers, don't worry about that. Yeah, their cross-city rivals had an absolute mare this week. But there was a bit of a shock in Sweden on Wednesday night as well. Malmo playing against Ludogorets. I mean, Malmo had a big defeat against FC Copenhagen in the Champions League qualifiers. I think they lost like 5-0, but they played at home against Ludogorets, the Bulgarian champions, and they lost. They lost 2-1. Unbelievable. I mean, it's a great result for Ludogorets, and they deserved it. I mean, they had less of the ball, but, you know, they absolutely had the lion's share of chances, and they took their opportunities, you know. 2-0 lead at half-time. Stanic and Bile with the goals, and Jonsson got one back for Malmo in the second half, but really absolutely toothless from the Swedes. A terrible result for them, but great for Ludogorets. That is a huge result for them. That cannot be underestimated at all. But let us talk about Aston Villa. Aston Villa, they finally managed to get a win this season at long last, and they scored a goal, obviously, on their way to doing it. They weren't particularly great. I mean, Bologna had a lot of chances, were really poor in taking, and they had a good amount of the ball as well, but John McGinn with the only goal of the game after 13 minutes. Unlucky for Bologna, they head back to Italy with no points. But yeah, Villa get a win, and that could really spur them on as this season gets underway. And the final one, the one you've probably all been waiting for, particularly if you're of a Celtic persuasion, Rangers against Genk. Now, I said that Rangers were going to be underwhelming in this, and they still disappointed. This is honestly a terrible result for them. A 1-0 loss at home to Genk. And who got the goal? I didn't even realise this guy was playing for Genk. It was O. Oh no, it was O. Former Celtic player getting the goal just to rub the biggest wad of salt into the wounds of Rangers. Man, that's got to hurt. That has really got to hurt. And you know what? They deservedly lost. They were shocking. Mohamed Diamande got sent off just before half-time. It was a pretty drab game up until that point, in fairness. And then Genk had the team talk at half-time. We can get a goal here. And oh boy, they did. And yeah, that was the only goal of the game. And Genk, like I said, they deserved this. You know, Rangers had quite a bit of the ball, considering down to 10 men for over half the match. But as usual, Russell Martin's side's toothless. And yeah, I'll be surprised if he's not jobless very soon as well. But yeah, those are the 5 matches to get us started in the Europa League. Guys, did you watch any of these games? What did you think about them? Let us know in the comments below. Like, share, comment, subscribe, guys, as always. And have a fantastic day wherever you're on the world today. And we'll see you very soon.